People in the back room catch up when they're ready. Welcome, everyone, to the March 21st meeting of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues. I'm Sally Hart-Peterson. I am the chair of the Ann Arbor Commission on Disability Issues, and we will start with roll call, starting with the commissioner to my farthest left.
Matthew Solomon, Commissioner.
Allison Stroud, Commissioner.
Tim Hull, Commissioner.
Kirk Westfall, Commissioner and City Council Liaison.
Rachel Hawkins, Commissioner.
Nick Kaselniak, Commissioner.
Kathleen Mozak-Batts, Commissioner.
Larry Keeler, Commissioner.
Thank you. Next, we have approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve? Larry motions to approve.
I'll move to approve.
Is there a second? I'll second it. Allison Stroud seconds. Is there any discussion? I have one item. We've just been informed that instead of Sophie Scotialak from the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, we will have Shannon Clark with us presenting this afternoon. Any other additions, deletions? All those in favor? As oh,
I just had a question. Are we still planning to keep the vacant position items?
vacant position
items.
items.
Oh, I'm talking about the roll call. I'm sorry. The agenda. I'm looking at the meeting minutes.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Are you okay with the agenda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank
All
you.
those
I'm
in
good with the
favor,
agenda.
say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. We're approved on the agenda. Next is approval of the February 21st meeting minutes. Is there someone who would like to move approval of the February 21st meeting minutes?
I'll move it.
Allison will move. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Larry seconded.
Backwards.
Any questions, additions, deletions, edits? Allison?
The question that I asked just a couple of minutes ago
Yes.
is, are we still planning to keep the vacant position item for roll call or have
That is a question best answered by Heather Cook, who is
Okay.
our HR liaison. And I think it is a formality
Right.
with the way the city documents things. Basically, this is telling us we were all here, but we have two open positions that haven't been filled, or two vacant positions that haven't been filled.
Okay.
So that's what it means. We can ask Heather to comment, and I know she'll be watching this and doing the minutes, so she can
I actually
address that.
like it because it's if the vacancies mean that we have the people aren't here, or that the seats aren't filled, because then I can keep track.
Yeah, it is good to help us keep track on a month-to-month basis.
But I think that what I'd bring up with Heather is vacancies versus absence.
Excused absences, yeah.
Any kind of absence.
Yeah, and that's correct, but everyone was present at the last meeting, and the only person who told me they couldn't be here today is Zach Damon, but I think we have everybody else here. So that's good news. Any other, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, it just throws me off a little bit because of the number. That's a percent is 13.
Right,
Yeah, we don't have.
so technically, it should read 11.
Right.
We can ask her if there's another way
Okay.
to formulate this or format this.
Okay. Thank you.
So Heather, when you're watching this, if you can help provide us with guidance on how to accurately reflect how many people are actually here with respect to how many vacant positions we have here and who is actually not present. Make sense? Anyone else? Any other comments on the meeting minutes from February 21st?
Just a correction on page 1 to section 4, independent spelling.
Independent. Yes. Okay, so spelling correction under presentations, the word independent. And we will ask Heather to make that change. All those in, any other discussion or comments? All those in favor of approving the agenda as amended, please say aye.
Hi.
I think that was unanimous. Thank you. Okay. Moving on to the next item are our special presentations. First, we have Katie Monkowitz from the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. Welcome, Katie.
Hi, thanks for having me.
going to pass out our March event brochure.
Oh, Rebecca Benedict is on too.
So we've got a couple of events left in this month that I wanted to highlight for you all. On Monday, March 26th, from 6:30 to 8 p.m. at our Westgate branch, we're going to be holding Know the 10 Warning Signs of Alzheimer's Disease. We're having somebody from the Alzheimer's Foundation come in and explain the difference between age-related memory loss and Alzheimer's and what to do if you or someone you know has signs of the disease. And then on Tuesday, March 27th, also at the Westgate branch from 6:30 to 8:30 p.m., we're going to be holding Be Red Cross Ready. And this event will be hosted by the Red Cross, and it's going to center on the fact that disasters can happen anywhere, anytime, and the necessity of being prepared for those things. We're going to talk about how to build a disaster preparedness kit, make a plan, and stay informed during disasters. And they're also going to have some seasonal information for us. Being Michigan, we just experienced some heavy snow during this winter. Hopefully we're out of the woods there, but you know it's going to happen again next winter, so it doesn't hurt to be prepared for that. And then on Wednesday, March 28th from 7 to 8:30 p.m. at the Downtown Library, we're going to be talking about inflammation with Dr. Hakeem. And this lecture is going to focus on the causes and some potential solutions for inflammation that can be practiced on a daily basis that don't require a prescription. So Dr. Hakeem has over 20 years of combined experience in primary care and holistic medicine. So we expect to hear some good things that you can do naturally if you're experiencing pain due to inflammation. So I hope to see people at those events. I picked out some materials to share with you this month. Last month I shared that I've been kind of frequenting our express shelf, and this month was no different. I've been going back to it since I've sort of discovered it, and I found that not only does our express shelf have new items that might have a lot of holds on them that you may not have to wait for if you find them on the express shelf, but also some older items that continue to be popular that may not come quickly if you put a traditional hold on them. One of those that I found is the movie Hidden Figures. This was really big last year. There was a lot of hype about it, won some awards, and I never watched it when it had come out, and I saw it on the express shelf, and I thought, why have I not watched that movie? It looks so good, and it was awesome. So I was really, really happy that I found this on the shelf, and then I was even happier to discover that we have this in descriptive video form also through the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. So a descriptive video is a video that, without disrupting what's going on in the movie, will describe what's happening for those of us who may not be able to see the action on the screen.
Nice.
What's that, Larry?
I said nice.
Oh, yep. So we've got this in descriptive video. And before this was a movie, it was a book. And so we also have this through BARD, Braille and Audio Reading Download, on digital book, in large print format, and there's also a book that's intended for younger readers, which we have available in all those formats except for large print as well. So this is great. It's available just about any way you want or need it, and so I highly recommend Hidden Figures. Another thing that I found that's actually a really popular item right now is this book called An American Sickness: How Healthcare Became Big Business and How You Can Take It Back. So this is basically an investigation into why American healthcare is not working and solutions to many of those problems. This has really gotten a lot of attention. I haven't read it yet, but I wanted to bring it up because it is very popular right now at the library. The last thing that I found on our express shelf is a book that I read probably about 10 years ago called The Glass Castle. This has regained popularity because there's recently been a movie released, so a lot of people are going back and reading the book or reading it if they haven't already. It's a true story of a dysfunctional childhood living off the grid, and this is available. The book is available, large print, Bard, digital book, and the movie is also available in descriptive video. So lots of ways to get that one as well. I want to let you all know about our upcoming Visions vendor fair. That's going to be on May 16th. And we have a location change this year. It's going to be at the downtown library in the lobby. And that vendor fair is going to have probably about 30 exhibitors and vendors that are going to have services and technology specifically centered on visual impairment. And there'll be speakers on that topic throughout the day as well. And I will have more information as we nail that down this month for you at next month's meeting. But just to let you know again, it is May 16th. That's a Wednesday, 11 to 4 at the downtown Ann Arbor District Library. And if you have any questions about that or anything else, you can contact the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled through email, wlbpd@aadl.org, phone 734-327-4224, or through our website at wlbpd.aadl.org. Does anyone have any questions? Larry?
You know it's going to be me. Two things.
Sure.
One, I wonder, I was sitting here because you guys always pass out flyers, and
Right.
the Center for Independent Living does too. I wonder if either we could get those emailed or put those in the packet. That would be, if you knew you were coming. I mean,
Can I send, well, I do send a link to the programs that I talk about in an email.
right, and I can probably find them at the library website.
Right, that's where we publish them electronically. We don't have an electronic version of the brochure because it's all on our website.
Okay, and the second thing is, just to confirm, the address is 343 South 5th down there?
You got it.
And the other thing is, the time has changed since last. It used to be 10 to 3.
Right, so we're starting a little bit later, 11 to
So,
4 this year.
I'm mentioning that in case anybody, knows about and kept going there. And
Yeah.
oh, I'm
No.
here early.
Thank you. We do have some changes this year, so it is important to highlight them. Going back to your original question, though, when I send the emails about what I'm talking about to Sue, can I CC you?
Sure,
Okay, I'll do that, and that way you'll have advance notice about what I'm going to talk about.
I'd like that. Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Yes, Allison.
I have a question, maybe two,
Okay.
out of curiosity. The description video that you mentioned for Hidden Figures,
Yeah.
for a movie that's sort of a major blockbuster that arrived at the library, is the description video something that you obtain, or is it produced by the library?
It's actually a pretty common feature these days as a special feature of DVDs.
Okay.
So it's actually done by the DVD production company.
Okay.
So it's already on there.
Okay, so
You do
it
closed
comes with the
caption, too.
video.
Yeah, it's similar to like you would see closed captioning.
Yeah.
So actually, you'd be surprised at how many DVDs you might have at home, and you don't even know that that's a possibility, that it is described as well.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I was just curious because the way that it was described sounded like it was a separate item.
Right. So it is your regular old DVD.
Okay.
It's just got that special feature on it.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
You're welcome. Anybody else? All right. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Katie. Yep. Next, we have Shannon Clark from the Center for Independent Living.
Hi, thank you. So I'm from the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living. So some events that we have going on this month are how to better understand your Medicaid rights. That is going to be Thursday, April 12th from 6 to 8 p.m. And this session is designed to help participants develop a better understanding of their rights, responsibilities, and complaint processes for individuals receiving Medicaid. Who should attend this event? Individuals and family members of young children, teens, and young adults with special needs and disabilities. And to register, you can call 800-292-7851, extension 472. I'll repeat that again. 800-292-7851, extension 472, and all participants will receive certificate of attendance.
That's a state number.
What was that?
That's a state extension, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, I think. It's definitely not
I'm pretty sure it is.
through us, yeah. It's an outside party. A pastry and coffee breakfast community outreach meets every third Wednesday of the month at 10 a.m. at the CIL. And it's an invitation to meet our staff and learn more about the services that we offer to the disability community. Our services and systems supports include advocacy, employment, housing, independent living services, peer counseling, Social Security and Medicare, and youth services. And for more information and to request accommodations or to RSVP, you can email info@aacil.org or call 734-971-0277, extension 36. We also have Project Grow classes at the Ann Arbor CIL, and it is a garden that we have at the Center for Independent Living. It's a fully accessible garden that is waiting for eager individuals to garden there. All levels of experience and capabilities are welcome. All that is required is willingness to plant some seeds, watch them grow, and enjoy their fresh goodness all summer long. So CIL consumers will be able to garden free of charge. There's a monthly potluck for gardeners and other CIL consumers. Details to be decided by the gardeners. There's weekly group gardening sessions that are held. An experienced Project Grow gardener will be available to answer questions. Free vegetable seeds and seedlings will be available to gardeners. Then we also have Eat It to Save Slow Foods Arc of Taste. And the date and time of this is Saturday, April 7th from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. And it's a $5 registration fee. And this is a class that will begin with an overview of Slow Foods Arc of Taste. Then they will explore heritage foods that are significant to class participants' own cultural and culinary backgrounds. Participants will each receive Arc of Taste seeds for their gardens, and this class is led by Slow Food Huron Valley leadership community members. And then some recreation and social opportunities that we have going on. We always have free open gym hours. We do require one orientation before you start. That's about a half hour. And this is Monday through Friday from 10 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. That it's available. And to schedule an orientation, you can send, again, an email to the info email, info@aacil.org, or call 734-971-0277, extension 33. We also have computer classes and help Tuesdays and Fridays from 12 to 3 if you need some more help with Microsoft Office, and you can stop in our computer lab and get some help. We also have a couple support groups going on. We have Guy Talk, which is a newer group that meets Tuesdays, February 27th, March 6th, March 13th, March 20th, and March 27th, so there's one left for this session, but I think we might be adding on more sessions in the future, and that's from 6:30 to 8, and it's led by William Sissing, TLLP, and it's a social support group for young men with disabilities, ages 14 to 26, and it's building personal skills, strengthening friendships, role modeling, personal visioning. It's a fun group for young men. We also have the female counterpart, Girl Talk. This is a support group targeted also to ages 14 to 26 and for women with disabilities. And it's a great opportunity to address some of the issues that girls face while giving them an opportunity to make friends at the same time. And the theme of this series going on is capturing personal dreams. And that is coming up The next date is this Friday, March 23rd, and then March 30th from 6 p.m. to 7:30. And you can RSVP to Anna at aacil.org, or you can call the CIL, and her extension is 17. We also have a Hearing Loss Association support group that meets monthly on the second Monday from 6:30 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Prior to attending your first meeting, please contact Pam McGinty at pamc, as in cat, 86@gmail.com. And it's for anyone who has a hearing loss or lives with or works with or has a friend or family member with hearing loss to attend. We also have an MS support group that meets every Monday from 7 to 8:30, and it's for those with MS in their bodies, spouses and partners, family members, friends, and PAs working with the attendee. There's no charge, and if you could give Jody Burton Slowens a call at 734-663-0785 before you attend. We also have a general support group that meets every Wednesday from 12 to 1, and that's just for a general group for people with disabilities. You can email Jason Jones at jjones5, PERAD, so jjones5parad at iCloud.com. We also have Diversibility Theater that meets every Wednesday. That's an improv group from 5 to 7. And if you have any questions about that before you go, you can contact Chris Beatty at Beatty, which is B-A-T-Y, Beatty Moan, so BATYMOHN at yahoo.com. We have Drop-In Art Monday, Thursday, and Friday from 1 to 3, and Thursdays it's from 12:30 to 2:30, so just a half-hour tweak there. If you have any questions, you can email art@aacil.org. Got a lot going on this month. Couple
You're on
more
a roll.
things, and I
Keep
promise. Yeah, and then a couple things happening out in the community. Sophie had mentioned at the last meeting, you guys had some questions about Habitat for Humanity financial coaching. So here's
Okay. Thank you.
And this is a budgeting class, Credit 101, estate planning, open to all residents of Washtenaw County. Registration is required. You can contact Latina Fair at lfair@h4h.org or 734-274-3718. And last but not least, Chuck E. Cheese has sensory sensitive Sundays, the first Sunday of every month from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. and specifically for children with autism and other special needs. On these days, there is reduced lighting and noise, food and games offered, and trained and caring staff. And you can visit Chuck E. Cheese website for a location near you. And you can find us, again, number 734-971-0277, or you can email info@aacil.org for any questions.
Thank you, Shannon.
Yes.
Larry has a question.
Of course. One question.
Yeah.
If you want to go to the computer lab, you might want to go. Do you just want them to call in and say, "Hey, is Angie in there?" Just in case they need help.
Yeah, if you're looking for help, she is there. Let me go refer back
Well, I
to
heard
this.
you mention everybody, and I thought, well, probably mention Angie if you're gonna.
Yep, so she
computer
is, for the computer help, so the computer lab is open during our business hours, but the actual computer classes and help are Tuesdays and Fridays from 12 to 3 p.m., so that's when she's around to help.
Great.
Yeah, any more questions? No? All right, thank you.
Thank you, Shannon. Next, we have public commentary period, but I don't see anyone else from the public here, so I think we'll move on to the next item, which is old business, city personnel report. Heather is not here, so we'll ask her for an update next time. Under the chair report, a couple of things. I checked online while Katie was talking. We don't seem to have a link or a live link on our agenda from the agenda to the Ann Arbor District Library or the Washtenaw Library for the Blind and Physically Disabled. So I will ask Heather to put live links on our agenda going forward. So if you want to preview what we're about to hear about, you'll be able to do that. with a little bit more ease. And I think perhaps Shannon just left, but perhaps we'll do the same thing for the Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living as well, to provide some live links on the agenda. So anyone in the viewing audience or any of us who want to get a preview of what might be spoken about or highlighted, there'll be additional information.
Nice again.
I'm sorry?
I said nice again.
Okay. I failed to mention, Rebecca Benedict is out of town, so she's also not here, but Zach and Rebecca are both with the Community Engagement Committee, and I do have an update from them. If you bear with me, I'm going to read from my email what the update is from the Community Engagement Meeting and Ann Arbor Inclusive. Zach writes, earlier this month we had James Murtha, an intern, mentor, and ambassador with the Christopher and Dana Reeve Foundation, on the show. James spoke about his life-changing event, which led to him suffering a spinal cord injury, and how working with the foundation has helped him as well as many others within the disability community. James also spoke about the history of the foundation, services they offer, and how others may get involved. As far as the community engagement meeting, next committee meeting, they had tried to schedule one for Thursday, March 15th in the council workroom. But Rebecca had to unexpectedly fly out of state, which is where she might still be. So they're going to postpone and reschedule that meeting. So that's what I have for the Community Engagement Committee and Ann Arbor Inclusive. Anything else? Any questions or comments or feedback? Hopefully everything's okay with Rebecca. Also, next meeting in April 18th, I actually have to fly to Massachusetts. My daughter's having her wisdom teeth removed, and she needs a parent there with her. So I will ask Zach to chair the meeting as vice chair. And if he's not able to, I may call upon one of you to volunteer if he's not able to do that, Larry. But that would be in April, our next meeting. That's all I have as the chair report. I just mentioned Community Engagement Committee and Ann Arbor Inclusive. That brings us to Partners and Access Committee. Allison.
We had our meeting last Wednesday with Mary and Kathleen and myself, and I will cover the main highlights of that meeting, and I have some notes in here that are a little bit jumbled, so please bear with me. One of the main points that we talked about was trying to provide more accessible avenues for people to report complaints about safety and accessibility throughout the city, and currently, the available modes of communication are through the PDF document that people can download and fill out, or call the city clerk. So both of these modes of communication can be sent to the city clerk, aside from what we already have available for us to be contacted as commissioners. So we talked about the possibility of providing an online form that's not just downloadable, but also fillable online. And we want to see about exploring that option and maybe communicating a little bit more in detail with Sally and see if there's any feedback about this, or if there's a possibility that we could go forth with that mode of communication with regard to citizens wanting to share suggestion or complaint about accessibility in the city. Yeah.
Can I ask you a quick question? Is this something that would go above and beyond what A2 Fix-It already does? The A2 Fix-It, the app that people, when they...
Oh, I would say yes, but I can also say no, because it could depend on maybe something that cannot currently be reported on A2 Fix-It, and that would be one way that people can send their suggestion to the city clerk today. Can you please add this option to A2 Fix-It?
Okay.
So
maybe an expansion of A2 Fix-It, so there might be a potential ADA violation.
Yes.
I don't know if that's on there now, but it seems like maybe we could
talk about that a little bit more in detail, because A2 Fix-It right now is actually really great. it provides a lot of action and a lot of items for people to choose from where they want to make a recommendation to improve the walkability of sidewalks, for example. However, it looks like there could be improvement to how detail can be reported, because for some areas, it'll say sidewalk, but it doesn't necessarily provide an option to just a curb cut
Okay.
issue, or for other areas, it'll provide an other. And people will have to describe in detail what the issues are and how they think it should be fixed. So I think for us to really think about how we can improve that tool and make it more accessible or easy to use for people who want to report some suggestion or problem with accessibility with walking around the city or any other public facility and so forth. So that was an idea that we talked about in pretty good detail, and we suggested to Aisha that we should communicate with you, Sally,
Okay.
and see if there's any feedback or any guidance that we could get.
Sure.
And I welcome feedback from the entire commission. If there's anything that could be addressed, or if you have an idea of how people can better communicate with the city as well as us. And another thing about communication is we talked about how Kathleen was so active in being in the city and on the sidewalk and noticing any accessibility issues, because she's been finding a lot of areas with curb cut issues and making sure to report it to aim to fix it. So with Kathleen being so active and being proactive about finding these issues and being mindful of these accessibility issues, I want to encourage the entire commission as well as the audience to make sure as you're out in the city and you're exploring, be mindful of the potential accessibility and safety issues that you may see and try to report it through aid to fix it, or if the option is not available, communicate that to aid to fix it or with the city clerk, because there's a lot that could be done. And I want to encourage everybody, not just here, but also out there, to be mindful of that.
Thank you.
And we had a really good conversation about this. And that was two of the main highlights about our conversation. One other thing was that when Kathleen contacted you, Sally, about the curb cut, and you suggested taking that to the city administrator
Yes.
and reporting that, I think that's a great idea. In the past, we have presented a letter to the businesses and encouraged them to abide by the ADA rules. However, I think maybe we can change gears a little bit and try to think about better ways of getting the city's attention with
So,
the city administrator.
do you want me to
Yeah, go
follow
ahead.
on there? So I did meet with our city administrator yesterday about these curb cuts, and I showed him the pictures. And the question that came to mind is Briarwood Circle municipal property or is it private property? And I know that the mall, I think, is owned or managed and 50% owned by Simon Group, I think. But they're all public places, so I think they do have to abide by ADA law. And so we're trying to figure out what, he's going to follow up with the appropriate people within the city. I think it's Community Services is the group, and find out what the best way, I mean, if the city isn't responsible, the city would do it. If Simon is responsible, then the city should communicate to Simon. And not to suggest, our authority is anything less than stellar in this commission, but a letter from the city might, in addition to a letter from the commission, might be a little bit better. But either way, once we find out ownership, once we can answer that ownership issue, the next step would be to either fix it if it's Ann Arbor property or make sure Simon does it. And one thing, again, to your point, Allison, about streamlining feedback to the city, I wonder if we can streamline some sort of communication tool that will allow us to sort of have a ready letter of request to any private commercial property owner.
Like a template.
A template that would allow us to easily say, we encountered this, this is in violation of, again, federal ADA law. The city doesn't, what's the word I want? We can't enforce, the city cannot enforce ADA law because it's not a local law, it's a federal law. But the city can certainly make a recommendation that something be repaired or fixed along with us doing it ourselves. And I think the two together would probably work best. But this was sort of a, did you report this on A2 Fix-It?
Originally, when this first came to my attention, A2 Fix-It wasn't in existence.
Oh.
And then when I tried to report it last year through A2 Fix-It, it wasn't available as an option. But it seems like A2 Fix-It sort of upgraded because per your suggestion, I went out last weekend and I went to all 4 sidewalks that go from the outer circle to Briarwood Mall. And I was able to take pictures and also choose a sidewalk option. There wasn't an accessibility feature, or it was basically, is there a repair needed or whatever. So I just chose repair, and then I wrote in the description, a curb cut is needed.
Okay.
It was interesting to note that 2 sidewalks were just fine. You could get from one end to the other and leave the sidewalk on either end because there were curb cuts provided. But the 2 sidewalks that probably would be used the most.
The one in front of
the
Macy's.
one going out to the Marriott or whatever that hotel is, and the one coming in from the outer circle where all the doctor's offices and banks are.
Briarwood,
Both are the ones that have issues with, there's a curb cut at one end, but not at the other end. So, I was able to do that.
Okay, is there, I haven't used A2 Fix-It in a while, is there an other option that you can check that allows you to provide the detail?
Yes, I clicked other, and then I wrote in a really, because, once you choose repair, then you give description.
Right.
So then that's where I wrote, not really repair,
But something that should have been done. Have you gotten a response?
I don't believe so, but I can check while you're talking about other things.
Okay, that would be good. Yes, Nick?
So who's in charge of developing the A2 Fix-It? It's an application, right?
Yeah, IT department within the city,
And-
I think I think they're continuously trying to improve it and make it more functional.
And is there like a group of stakeholders that can participate in providing the feedback that's necessary for changing or modifying the actual application itself?
I don't know that there is a formal group of stakeholders, but I do believe that if you have suggestions, you can contact your council member. You can contact the clerk's office directly, or you can contact the city administrator, and there are a lot of places you can go. Again, I don't know of any formal group, but there are a lot of options available to suggesting improvement.
Yeah, I was just wondering in terms of how it was designed, and if it was designed with the intent of like the public feedback or anything like that.
It was designed to streamline public feedback, for people to probably reduce the number of calls coming into City Hall. You know, there's this person didn't plow this, or, you know, the city didn't plow that, or my trash didn't get picked up. Rather than trying to call the 1-800 number at the city all the time, it was meant to sort of quickly streamline it. And I've found for, like, if your trash wasn't picked up and you report that, they usually respond pretty quickly. Other things, you know, take some time. Or maybe they're not done as effectively as you like filling potholes. It's another story.
So I have an answer for
Oh,
you.
yes.
Both, because they had to be done separately, because they were 2 separate pictures and 2 separate issues. It says both issues are closed, that Briarwood Mall is on private property. The city of Ann Arbor has no jurisdiction on private property. Please contact the mall management to request this ramp. Thank you.
Okay, so that is saying that it's not city property. So the next follow-up would be to call the mall or call mall management. Get our letter together, and I can also ask our city administrator if the city can follow up with the mall management and make sure they know that that's in violation of ADA.
Thank you.
I was going to say it would be great if you could get the city administrators to pull it.
Yes.
Because if we try to do it ourselves as individuals, I don't think it has as much power as it would have if we had a city authority to put it out.
Yeah, I'll ask him.
Okay, that would be great.
Thanks,
Thank
that
you,
was
Sally.
helpful, Kathleen. I'm glad to know at least the communication, it wasn't the answer we wanted, but the communication circle worked.
And it's actually fascinating. Other people follow these. Like, if you
Yeah.
go on their website, you can look at issues that are going on and around the city, and you can comment yourself about them. And there were actually other folks who were like, yes, this needs to be fixed. So it's
Good.
not just a I saw it kind of
Yeah.
thing. There are other people who are having issues, so.
Okay. Tim, did you have your hand up?
No.
Okay. Did anyone else have their hand up? Do you have more?
Yeah. Is that okay? Another thing is that I also mentioned that I have not heard from nobody, but we don't agree as a group to follow up with someone else. Mom Pat would be a good person to follow up with her about what is happening with nobody, because I think there are personal businesses that some folks have to attend to. So I think that may be part of the delay, but we want to be sure to let you know that we are still on top of it. And not necessarily a highlight of the meeting, but an upcoming announcement. I will be out of town, both for work and for pleasure, because I need a vacation. It's been over a year since I've had a full week off. I will be gone for the partisan access meeting and the commission meeting.
In April.
Yes, in April. And I do not have any inclination to keep the PIA meeting. However, if there are issues that anyone here needs to bring up with partisan access, I would like for that meeting to happen regardless of whether I am there. So please let me know if you want to keep the meeting, and I will make sure that Heather keeps it on. And then one of you will have to report to the commission during the monthly meeting about the PIA activities, and I will do what I can to keep everyone updated with email. So please let me know as soon as possible if you have anything to report. Okay? I'm looking at everyone. Okay. That is all that I have to say. Unless Kathleen and Mary have something to add. No.
Yes. Is the DDA still on our agenda for April?
Yes, thank you. Yeah, the DDA is still planning to present at the April meeting. That was what I'm going to remind you about this month.
The April commission meeting or the PIA meeting?
Commission meeting.
Okay.
I've informed them.
It's on the agenda then.
Yes, I've informed them that it's 4 o'clock rather than 3:15, but I'm going to follow up with them in CCU to make sure that they know it is at 4 o'clock.
I remember talking about this before, but it wasn't top of mind, so thank you for the reminder.
Yeah, well, Kathleen brought it up. So, thank Kathleen. You are going to be informed by email regardless. So.
Okay, thank you.
All right, that is all I have to say. Thank you.
Well done. Anyone else? Any questions or comments for Allison? Thank you. Recruiting activity, Larry.
All right.
All right.
Nothing much happened. Nothing much happened. I haven't heard from the mayor's office, but you can still contact them at 794-6161. And if we're, was it Matt, we were talking about forming a recruiting committee?
We did speak about that. I've been doing it informally, but if you think it'd be more effective as a committee.
Well,
then
is my contact information on the roster still? Or on the new roster? Do you have my contact information? Because we could probably talk about that out, email.
I believe it is.
Okay, and we're still looking for people. We've got 2 vacancies now, and we'd like to fill them soon. And I think that's all I got this month.
And as far as you know, from the mayor's office, we don't have anyone who's applied or who's on the waiting
No,
list?
as far as I know, we don't. I talked to Christine last week.
Okay.
So we don't have anyone.
I think the key issue was that point that Allison brought up, which is with a letter explaining why the exception was being requested. It was not such a problem to get someone from outside the city limits onto the commission. So I think that should hopefully help with the recruiting process, but that will just have to be a matter of outreach, I think.
Okay. Are you interested in joining forces with Larry?
Of course. I'm just not in favor of forming additional committees.
I think you can do it informally.
I think we can do it as an activity, can't we?
Yeah. Well, if you do it as a committee, then you need to post all your
Right.
meetings
But if
and
we
all
do
that,
it as
which
an
is fine
activity-
if you want to do that.
If we do it as an activity, I could bring it here, correct?
I'm sorry?
I said, if we do it as an activity, though, we could just, discuss things, and I could bring it back here as chair of the
It will be
committee.
an informal activity.
Correct, via email and whatever else
Yeah.
needs to be
Yeah,
done.
I
We're not
just
gonna be
think it's
setting too
helpful
much
that the two
policy
of
anyway,
you,
and if we
whatever, whether it's an activity or it's a committee, whatever it is the two of you decide it to be, that you're just in contact with each other.
Let me go on record that I would love to join forces with Larry.
All right. I like you too, man.
Okay, Transportation Commission, Tim.
Yeah, so we actually the last meeting I think was before this meeting, and so the next meeting is tonight, and yeah. So the one thing I just wanted to highlight, I know I mentioned it briefly, is that there was some discussion about a Wayne-Washtenaw transit partnership, and I do know also, I think that's just discussion behind the scenes, because I know that Wayne County released, they had a transit plan they wanted to do for the RTA, and Oakland and Macomb kind of pushed back as expected, and just not sure what's going to happen with that. There's still a possibility of either RTA or some two-county thing going on the ballot. I mean, AAATA, which is totally separate, has their millage going on the ballot for renewal, the one that passed 4 years ago or 5 years ago.
2014.
Yeah. And yeah, that's, I think, the other thing is they're talking about doing some changes to make more people-friendly streets in downtown. That's actually one of the big things on the agenda tonight. And the DDA, I saw the meeting stuff sent out about that. And yeah, it looks like they're actually working in combination with MDOT, because they want to do some things on Huron Street to make it more pedestrian-friendly, and because that's an MDOT street. And I know we run into that before. I mean, with the Arborland and the Washtenaw situation. But I guess that's all I have to say, because we haven't had a new meeting since we last had our meeting.
Right, okay. Okay. Any questions for Tim? Thank you. The next we have Kathleen and the U of M Council for Disability Concerns update.
Yes, we've had 2 meetings since our last meeting, and I'll keep this short. So the Council for Disabilities Concerns met February 13th, and there were several announcements, one of which is, I don't know if the public is aware of this, but construction on the Michigan Union is beginning in May. It's going to be a 2-year project, and it will impede access to the Fletcher Building, where we currently hold our meetings. So April meeting will still take place at the Fletcher Building, but then we don't know where we're going to be. So I'll have to let you know next meeting. Also, there was a young man on our council, Jeff Edelstein, and he's investigating the potential of building a disability culture at the U of M. Currently, there are different cultures represented, like Spectrum Center does LGBTQ, and so he is coordinating a written video. He wants writing, video, and other submissions for this project because he wants to discuss intersectionality of disability with other social organizations. He suggests that people watch, there's a video on YouTube called You Can Quote Me on That, which discusses student with disabilities experience at the University of Michigan. We had 2 advocacy groups represented at the council. The first one was Dessa Cosma, who is from the Detroit Disability Justice. She's been involved in justice work for quite a while as an advocate, including economic, reproductive, racial, and LGBTQ. And sometimes within these organizations, she finds that she's the only person of disability. So she's doing what she calls radical disability justice organizing. She's devoting herself this year to building power for disability communities. And what she means and how she defines power is the ability to get things done. She's saying if the disability community is powerful enough, it will become a sought-after constituency rather than an afterthought constituency and provide a stronger influence in public policy. Her two main strategies that she listed, were to make sure that other movements, such as racial, LGBTQ, are inclusive of their members who have disabilities, and that politically and marginalized groups can and should work together, because then this broadens our stories and narratives of people who can be included. Because everybody has multiple identities. We identify as, say, female, disabled, queer, Christian. Also, disability groups that function with a single disability aspect, like mobility or vision or hearing, also need to be included and be purposefully intersectional in building this movement. So she is trying to develop a disability justice organization in the Detroit area. It will be an intersectional group with an advisory board, and they are to receive Ford funding from the Ford Foundation. The structure of the organization is still in development, and if anyone is interested, you can contact DESA at DESACOSMA, DESSACOSMA @gmail.com. To me, this is very exciting news because disability crosses all genders, all races. It's something that's time is really starting to come to fruition. The other exciting presentation that we had was Gina and Coe and Libby Hunter from Quiet Ann Arbor. It's called Creating Sanctuary from Piped Music. There was a movement that was started in the UK called the Pipe Down Movement, which is an effort to create quiet space free from ambient music. And so Quiet Ann Arbor shares these goals locally because their people are negatively impacted by background music, such as PTSD, ADHD, hearing aids, post-concussions. They're finding that people are having a hard time focusing, carrying on conversations just as the public and or as the people who work there. So Quiet Ann Arbor is suggesting and initiating a quiet hour in some shopping centers and other public spaces to better serve those who are negatively affected by the background music. And if you're interested in joining their effort or you want to find out more information about this effort, you can visit their website at quietannarbor.org. Our next meeting was held on March 13th. There is an exciting thing happening. Anna Schnitzer, who is one of our commissioners, and Bonnie Dede, who is on the council, they have a book coming out in April.
Oh, wow.
It's called Diversity Includes Disability, and it will be available not only in print but online. And it's a history of and has personal perspectives about the Council for Disability Concerns, which has now been in existence for over 30 years, and there is no written history to date. So this is very exciting. I'll have more information. And the final topic is Fred Wurtzel, who is with the Federation of the Blind, gave an update on the continuing efforts to get the Detroit Metro Airport to integrate their stops for both disabled and non-disabled users of the Michigan Flyer, and to revise their policies that make it difficult currently for people with disabilities and others to use the Michigan Flyer at the airport. Members of the National Federation of the Blind of Michigan and other supporters did attend the last board meeting and met with the interim airport administrator, and they're hoping to hear back something on a more positive note at the end of March. Our next meeting is April 10th, and that will be at the Fletcher Building in the Regents Room.
Great.
Any questions? Yes.
I have a question. I had a question almost at the very beginning of your announcement, so I'm sorry if I'm backtracking a little bit. You mentioned that there's someone that wants to create disability culture at the University of Michigan. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay.
And actually, the DEI, which is the Department of Equity and Inclusion, has a grant proposal available right now, and he actually wants to find a physical space. He wants to develop a grant to be able to start a physical space for disability and inclusion.
So is it really just a space for people who have the ability to come together?
Right,
a
like
group?
Spectrum Center has a physical space on campus where
Okay.
persons can come. I've not been there and I don't know a lot about it, so please don't hold me to everything I'm saying. But from what I understand, it's a safe place for people to come and to talk, but it also has people there for assistance and whatever. And so that's what they're looking for persons with disabilities, that there's a centralized location for people to not only be able to come and just socialize, but also for advocacy issues and things like that on the campus.
Is it my understanding that is it for both students and employees or visitors?
You know, I don't know if I think it's going to be more student-centered, but I
Okay.
do know that there are different initiatives taking place, not only on the campus, but also within the medical center. Disability is a hotbed of discussion right now. Inclusion is important, and diversity is on the mind of the university, and so hopefully we're going to see a lot more exciting things.
Yes, I know that the DEI initiative has been trying to incorporate disability more, so I think that's really great. And I did actually mention that one idea for this person that actually create the physical space could be to get in touch with intergroup relations organization at the University of Michigan, because a lot of what they talk about is intersectionality between one identity with another identity. So that person that you're talking about could be making connections with the ICR group, because they need to put a lot of effort into talking about these things and making these topics, spreading awareness about these topics across the campus.
Okay.
So I will make the suggestion for that person to contact them if he or she can. I'm sorry, I don't know what this person's name is.
Jeff Edelstein.
Thank you.
He is actually the, let me find it here. He is an ad hoc U of M liaison right now.
Okay. Okay.
Larry, did you have a question?
So does Fred Wurzel for National Federation of the Blind still go there too?
Yes, he
Okay.
has been attending all of our
Okay,
meetings
good,
lately.
good, good, because I know him and I know how to get in touch with him to find out stuff.
I just have one question, the term intersectionality. That is, can you read?
It's a hotbed word. It's a buzzword right now.
Yeah.
And I believe what it's designed to say that there are many different cultures of disability or LGBTQ or Black Lives Matter or whatever, and that there's an intersection, there's a dialogue that can take place between all of these groups. And disability doesn't have it's everywhere. It's in persons who are well-to-do, it's in persons who are from every race, every gender, every sexual identity. It just crosses so many boundaries. And so I think that's what they mean by intersectionality.
So it's kind of like a confluence of all the different ways someone self-identifies?
Yes.
Okay. Helpful, good. I'll be listening for that word more and more.
Yeah, it was used a lot this last couple months, so.
Any other questions for Kathleen? Now we have announcements. Does anyone have announcements? Or new business? I just want to go back. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
That's all
I
right.
thought you were still on announcements, but I do have a new business to propose.
Okay.
Also, at the PIA meeting, we talked about the Google Mail account
Yes,
and who should be monitoring it.
I monitor it.
Oh, you
It comes to
monitor it.
my
Okay.
laptop.
Okay.
We have not gotten a lot of mail, but the Ann Arbor Disabilities, A2 Disability Commission at gmail.com comes to me. Yes, Larry.
It goes to you too? Well,
Yeah.
because I didn't know who was supposed to check that.
Yeah.
So I said I would check it, but I gotta make my computer go there because for some reason it's telling me it doesn't exist, so I might have to.
Yeah.
I was in Allison, I told Allison I would do it, and I'm doing it, Allison, but I gotta figure out why my computer ain't going there first. As soon
And
as I
I'm doing
figure
it
that
as
out-
well. Anyway, it pops up on in my inbox.
Yeah,
I have
it's-
3 mailboxes that come in, and that's one of them.
Cause it says my computer says it doesn't exist, and I said, well, never mind what I said. It does exist.
And I do want to say that it looks like we have a Google Drive that we don't need to be better about updating the platform with material from our meetings. So I have copies of notes from most or all of my meetings with PIA. So then I think I became chair again. So I want to make sure that information is available, and I want to make a note for everyone who could be a record of meeting minutes from their subcommittee meetings, and maybe the agenda as well as meeting minutes from all of the marketing commission meetings could be on there, and I could help to organize it.
That would be great.
Yeah.
I think also, if I understand how Google Drives work, that people need to be invited with a specific email address, and we have a lot of new commissioners who may not have access to the Google Drive. Can you make sure?
Yeah, I could try to work on that, and then you have to see. And I also will say that I don't have a lot of time
Yeah,
to
I
invest in this until maybe April, so I could
Okay.
start on that in April, if that's okay.
I think that's fine.
Okay.
Larry?
I don't know, unless they fix Google Drive so far, I hate it. My screen reader doesn't
I've
like
never
it.
been able to work with it very well
It
either.
doesn't work very well, and I have things to say when I get on there. If it improves, I'd like it.
Larry, not all thoughts are meant to be spoken.
That's right. Everybody else, everybody likes it, but I got to figure out how to make it more accessible.
Allison?
I don't know how much better it is for you now, Larry, but I did measure that they have made a lot of improvement
That's good to
in order to make the platform easy to access and easily accessible by anyone outside of a certain organization. So it's just a matter of understanding how to give people permission.
As soon as I get there, I'll let you know.
Yeah, I work with it a lot at my shop, so
You do.
I'm familiar with it.
Any other new business?
No.
Can we just recircle back on this curb cut issue at Briarwood again?
Yeah.
Who wants to take the lead? I'm happy as chair of the commission to call the management office and see what I can find out, but I don't know, Allison, do you want to, as chair of PIA? I can, I'm already going to loop back with Howard anyway and see in what format he might want to be involved. But let's make a decision about follow-up so it's clear. Thoughts? And I'm looking at Kathleen and Allison.
And I'm looking at
looking at the
Allison's,
caption.
because you are the lead of the PIA, but I would be happy to help out in any way. You're going to be gone in April, so if we need to communicate and do things before then, I'd be happy to.
I want to propose that Kathleen be the lead because she has been the one involved with needing to report the curb cut from the very beginning, and I'm only participated as maybe providing consultation as requested or ideas of how we can approach it. So I'm happy to continue to fulfill that role.
Okay.
As an idea person, but I think Kathy should be the lead mostly because you've been involved with it from the very beginning and you're more informed about the area that need attention more than I am.
So Sally, if you do that, and I'd be happy to write the letter once I get whatever information you'd like to share.
So I'll just give them a heads up that they're going to be hearing from us.
Okay.
And or the city if Howard wants to piggyback on.
All right.
Let's do that way. I'll contact them and then I'll let them know that you'll be following up or that you'll request a meeting.
Will you send me the information as to who I should direct my letter to
Absolutely.
specifically? Thank you. I
Larry?
appreciate it.
And Kathleen, if you need any help with the editing of the letter or anything, I can help you with that. But I'm the only reason I'm sort of staying out of this particular issue is because you got the pictures, and they say more than I'm I can say what I think, but you got the pictures, so
Yeah.
you can show them a whole lot better.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that.
I only ask that I be looped in. So
Oh,
that
of
I'm aware.
course.
Thank you.
We'll CC the entire committee. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Yeah, you've been great with that, and if you're able to schedule a meeting in April, feel free to invite me, but I can't promise that I'm available for that time period until probably I know more where my availability is in April.
Okay.
Thank
Any
you.
other new business?
No.
Okay, we are adjourned
Aye,
at 5:07 PM. Thank you, everyone.
Oh, just in time to miss the bus.